What is up, guys? So we're back with another video. Thought I'd just film outside since it's a beautiful day. It's around 70 degrees, 65s, kind of 70. So I'm just hanging out with my my new pup. He's over here. This little guy's been my best friend throughout this whole thing. But I did want to talk about my top 5 tips about beating, let's say, overeating and binge eating, kind of stuff like that, eating out of boredom. So I'm gonna list 5 top things. I know a lot of people are struggling with this right now because obviously they're a little bit bored. 1, so they just decide to eat. 2, you know, they could be emotionally eating. Like, I'm also a big emotional eater. I do eat when I'm bored. You know, I just like food. So that's, you know, 2 big things that this will help with, essentially. And just kind of just stay on track. Not necessarily meaning you have to be dieting. But just in general, like, if you want to be consistent with your eating, if you don't want to binge eat and feel like shit afterwards, obviously these tips will be helpful. So it doesn't have to be absolutely for dieting, but in general, this will help. So these are not in any particular order at all, but the first one that I would highly suggest is intermittent fasting, in the sense that the hours that you normally aren't hungry, some people aren't hungry at night, some people aren't hungry in the morning, some people aren't hungry during the afternoon. As long as you're getting your macros, your protein, your carbs, your fats during this time, you'll be fine. In terms of, don't worry about meal timing, meal frequency, and all that. But I, for example, am not too hungry in the mornings. You know, here and there, my appetite might spike in the mornings, but for the most part, I'm pretty good in the morning. It's more towards night, so I usually don't eat until 1:32, and then that's when I'll have my breakfast, and from there I'll kind of space out my meals until 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock even, depending how late I'm staying up. So that is one big tip I highly suggest. 2 would be eating voluminous foods, whole lot of veggies, you know, starchy or heavier carbs like oats, sweet potatoes, complex carbs, protein. Like, make sure you're getting your protein in, or even increase your protein, because protein is the most satiating, or let's say, yeah, most satiating macro in general. So if you want to raise your protein during this time, absolutely go do so. Try to skip out on the breads, unfortunately. Try to skip out on the cereals. Try to skip out on, you know, tons and tons of fruits, because they'll probably make you a little bit hungry. Try to substitute them for oatmeal and stuff. The third one I would highly suggest is caffeine or seltzer water. So obviously caffeine has appetite suppressant kind of effects. So that's why they're in your pre-workouts, they're in your fat burners. That's what kind of suppresses your appetite. So for me, for example, in the mornings, you know, being that I do get probably a little buzz of hunger, I'll drink caffeine, and that's what can hold me over until 2. It'll kind of give you like a head high, kind of give you a body high, let's say, and you'll be fine. You can get through it. Don't suggest it if you're trying to do it at night. So I would use seltzer water, because obviously it will fill up your stomach. You'll drink it, give it a couple minutes, and then you'll feel that fullness. So then from there, your cravings, your hunger will probably die down a bit, and help you in that sense. 4 will be, when you're craving, monitor if you're actually hungry or not. Like, when you have that feeling that you're going to eat, or you want to eat, see if it's actually hunger, you know? Because a lot of times when I do feel that need for something like to eat, I'll actually think about it, process it, and I can feel that my stomach's actually full, and it's just me wanting to aimlessly eat, or eating out of boredom kind of thing, or out of emotion, let's say. So when that happens, I highly suggest you just go, you know, for a walk, or drink some water. See if you're actually tired, because a lot of times I actually be like, let's say, kind of annoyed, or not necessarily annoyed, but not in a good mood, and that's why I want to eat. Meanwhile, I'm not hungry. It's just because I'm tired. So then like, I'll just take a quick power nap, and then after that, I'm usually perfectly fine for another 2-3 hours. So definitely try to gauge, once you do feel that hunger, whether or not it's hunger, is it tiredness, or just laziness kind of kicking in. So I highly suggest going out for a walk, getting some air. You know, obviously go play with your dog if you have a dog, and that. So the last tip I have is try to be as consistent as possible with your eating. 1, and 2, eat at maintenance calories. So therefore, there's no like fluctuation in calories. One, you know, you're not in a deficit where you're gonna obviously your body's gonna ask for more calories or more food later on in the day or later on in the week and stuff like that. So just try to be as consistent as you can. Make sure you're getting your breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you don't want to do the fasting. If you are, then just make sure that you're getting those 3, 4, 5 meals in the day, getting those macros in throughout the day. Just being consistent hitting those macros, because you obviously want to make sure that you're in a consistent pattern, not developing any deficit, therefore allowing you to spike in hunger later on down the road. So those are my 5 tips, and the 5 tips that I've been kind of doing throughout this whole thing, to stay on track, to stay steady in terms of my eating and not gain anything. Obviously, if you're trying to cut or bulk, it's a bit different, but those are my top tips. So if you guys have anything else, please like the video, and I will be back with another workout in the next video, or maybe something else. But I am excited for what's to come, guys. This is just a small time throughout this whole period, so just gotta keep good spirits and keep on going. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.